Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So, if you are working on AEM, then in recent time you must have heard or come across about a term called EDS or Helix or Franklin. Actually, all are same and it basically a lightweight next-gen content management system from Adobe and part of AEM as a cloud service overall architecture. Although it can be used independently, like a standalone product without using anything from AEM. So let's first talk about like what is EDS, then we'll see the architecture of it. So EDS stand for Edge Delivery Services. It was previously known as Project Franklin or Helix or Composability. So, so what is the use of it? So it is used to create fast site with perfect lighthouse score. And we can also continuously monitor site performance through real use monitoring. And it basically uses Google Docs or Sheet or Microsoft Word or Excel for content authoring. So this is also known as a document-based authoring. So these are two main feature of EDS. Like you can quickly set up your site with a perfect lighthouse score, and instead of spending time on AEM authoring, because AEM authoring, if a content author is new, right, it's not that easy. You need little bit of investment is needed to train authors on AEM authoring. But most of the, I think, content author will be familiar with these tools like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, so they don't have to spend any time or money to get trained on these tools, so they can immediately start. So it's basically like content author can work on the tools which they know, and as well as the sites created through EDS, they get a like perfect light score. So the performance also of these sites very good. So these are the two main selling point of EDS. Apart from that, document-based authoring, like what you see is what you get kind of authoring is also possible with EDS using AEM site and universal editor. And the most important concept, or you can say the basic building block of EDS are actually blocks. And these are like similar to what components are in AEM. So these are like similar to components. Although blocks are very lightweight, they are just front end related, like they just contain CSS and JS. And this EDS basically it's based on serverless microservice architecture. And apart from that, it's also a buildless solution because you don't have to do any build. And as soon as you commit your changes, there's one bot that is called Franklin bot, or you can say the AEM code sync app that will listen for your changes and then immediately pushes your changes will be available on your website. So we'll talk about this when I'll discuss the architecture. And there's I've heard many times uh, like people are saying or you may also have some confusion that whether it's a replacement of AML site or not. Frankly, as per my opinion, it's not a replacement of sites, AEM sites, or you can say the better was solution. Both the solution can live together or can be used as a standalone. But why I'm saying it's not a replacement, because if you talk about the licensing part also, EDS is not available as a standalone product, not right now. Maybe in future I don't know, but as of now, you cannot just go to the Adobe and buy EDS. You need to have AEM site license. Then only you can use EDS as an add-on. Okay. So from licensing part also you can think of like it's not like it's a replacement. You need to have AEM site license. But from the functionality point of view, as I mentioned, uh, it can be EDS can be used as a standalone product and standalone application. Like you can build a standalone application without using anything from AEM. Like you can use document with authoring and then create your site and yeah. So and serve your site through CDN. Okay, so that is a standalone example, and most of the customer right now using this. Like I think 90-95% customer are using this method only. There's one more method like where suppose where you want to use EDS along with the AEM, like you want to consume content from AEM. Okay, so that using so they can content can be created in AEM, and then using the universal editor, authoring of those pages can be done. So these sites are basically a little bit different from the normal AEM sites. They need to be tuned a little bit. So we'll talk about this. So basically, so that is how you do the universal editor editing. Or what I was saying, basically, suppose you want to use it with AEM, right? I was talking about that. So there can be two use cases where it can be used together. First, like you have already a running website on AMS Cloud Service, and some of the important pages they are not they are very important to your organization, but because of some reason they are not very fast or they are not performing well. Their Lighthouse means performance score is not good. So you want to basically serve those pages through EDS. In that scenario also, like it can like some of the pages can be served through EDS, and then this EDS can work along with AEM. Second scenario, like you have multiple sites, maybe some complex sites, maybe some new site you want to build, like you are maybe new microsite or for any that you want to build for any campaign. Okay, so that in that case, like this microsite you can create using EDS. So those kind of scenarios are available, and this EDS, even with the document-based authoring, you can still use assets like in EDS from AEM only. Like you can use AEM DAM assets, and then basically there's a Sidekick plugin available. Sidekick is like a Chrome extension that I'll be explaining about that, and there's a plugin available in that, like you need to write a plugin so that you can basically connect to AEM DAM and then browse the asset from it and then use it on your doc in your document authoring. So it's not a replacement, at least not now. Maybe I'm not sure about the future, but I don't think it even in future it will be a replacement of AMC. Okay, and there's one more thing like with this your code when you're working with EDS, right? Your code need to be in GitHub, and only GitHub is supported as of now, and that too the cloud version. Enterprise version is not supported. I'll talk about it also, like why only GitHub and why only the cloud one. Okay, so let's go to the next slide and let's discuss about the architecture. So as I already mentioned in the previous slide, it is based on serverless microservice architecture, where each service is like managed in a separate GitHub repository, and each individual service is designed to be a single purpose service. The connection between those services actually, however, make the overall architecture. So if you see this diagram is actually oversimplified so that it can be easier for you guys to understand it. If you see the original, it's like as I mentioned, it's a oversimplified version from the of the original diagram. And if you see, even with this diagram, it is clearly uh, we can clearly find make it out that there are four main section of EDS architecture. One is the edge that is basically responsible for delivery through an edge computing network or CDN. Then pipe, it is responsible basically to generate hypermedia from the markdown based content. And the third, like authoring of content using Google Docs and Word Online, and then publishing into availability content store like Content Hub. And then development workflow, like how GitHub can be used, and then how development environment can be set up. Okay, so let me explain each area in detail. So if coming to the Edge, so a typical EDS site uses three level of CDN. First level is customer CDN, also referred as bio CDN. This CDN cache content delivered by the next level, that is outer CDN. It relies on a long-lived share cache with precise invalidation, which is triggered by Helix admin based on customer provided configuration. So in short, this is like totally managed by customer, and they can do configuration as per their like. The second level is fastly, which is referred as outer CDN. Here, all the pages of like HLX dot live, or I think nowadays HLX extension is removed. The AEM extension is used. So dot AEM dot live pages are served through this CDN. And here also there's a long-lived shared cache. A page basically get cached here, and whenever content get published, the Helix admin service will surgically invalidate the cache for affected pages and resources. If you see, the third layer is like, or the innermost layer is CDN layer, is aptly named as inner CDN, which basically serve .hlx pages, or you can say nowadays .aem dot pages, and does not have any cache attached to it. So this allows authors to preview their changes without having to wait for cache to expire or pages to go through. Okay. So this is about the edge. Now coming to the pipe, the main delivery functionality is provided by the Helix pipeline services, which use Helix HTML pipeline framework to render the HTML and render the JSON from the spreadsheet. This pipeline services basically pull configurations from code bus and publish content from the content bus. Published content basically is in a markdown or MD format. Pipeline services basically use this content and code to render the final HTML page or JSON from the spreadsheet. And this pipeline services basically they it run on AWS Lambda. This basically work as AWS Lambda function, and all the content that is delivered through the pipeline, and some content that is served straight from the CDN, like media bus, like assets and images, video, etc. Uh, these are basically stored in a content hub, and this content hub basically use S3. So let's talk about the content hub first. So content hub basically is a content store optimized for delivery that uses Amazon S3. It has basically three main parts or buses, which are like media bus, and this media bus basically a content addressable storage for images, videos, and other media that can be served directly from CDN with minimal process. Like all the assets or images can basically store here and served directly from media buses. Okay, there's no processing needed here, or very minimal processing needed here. And within media bus, or even inside each of these buses, there's one folder like for each content bus ID, or you can say one parent folder for each customer, so that each customer content can be segregated and delete, and if needed we can delete all the content for any given customer when requested. Similarly, if we come to the content bus, like this is a path addressable storage for structure and semi-structure authored content. And within content bus also there will be one folder for like content, each content bus ID. And even inside this content bus ID folder, inside the content bus, there are two content bus partition. One is preview and live. So preview is basically this preview section. You can say So these partition, basically preview and live partition, these partitions separate content that can be served on dot AEM dot pages or from the content that is published on dot AEM dot live. Basically, like partition preview partition contains all the document that can be shown by inner CDN, and live partition contains that basically serve the outer CDN. And the actual when you publish any content, the actual process that happens behind the scene basically is copy the content from the partition preview partition to the live partition. And within this each content bus basically this partition each content bus partition has folder that reflect the folder structure of the source repository, like whatever, like suppose you are using SharePoint or Google Drive for your content storing your content. So whatever the structure will be there, same will be reflected in a content bus. And within each folder of content bus there will be a markdown document for each published document and a JSON file for each published spreadsheet. So that was about the content bus. And code bus basically here also there will be one folder for each owner, that is the GitHub username or organization that use basically this AEM code sync app of Franklin board. Okay, so basically whatever the your whoever is the owner of this GitHub repository, so for that there will be one folder, and inside each owner folder there will be one folder for each repository. Like suppose you can have multiple repository also. So for each repo there will be one folder, and inside each repo folder there will be one folder for each branch. Because this is important, just remember, because your site default domain URL is determined by your username, GitHub username, your repository name, and your branch. So how all these come together to basically form the URL of your website, that I'll be discussing while I set up the sample site, or you can say the first site using EDS. But just remember that and that's why these kind of folders are present inside the code bus. Now coming to the authoring stacks. So basically in if you see, if we talk about the authoring stack or the overall authoring, right, there it handled through interplay of three main components. So one is this Franklin Sidekick browser extension that you can see in inside a little blue box here. So basically, this is a Chrome extension, Chrome browser extension, and that allow basically author to trigger publishing action explicitly. This allow basically author to trigger publishing action, they can preview the documents or they can publish the documents. And internally, basically, it uses Helix admin service. I'll let you know just in a while how. Similarly, there's one more component, the second which will basically listen for the code changes. That basically comes here, and this is the AM Code Sync app. It's a GitHub app, or it is also called known as Franklin bot. That basically listen for the changes in your GitHub repository. So that is the second component. Third component is basically your main this Helix admin services. So this basically do all the important work, when you publish or preview any component, right. So when you preview any documents, it basically convert that document in a markdown format and place it in a content bus. And when you publish anything, right, it basically copy it from preview partition to live partition. Similarly, when you make any changes in your GitHub repository, this bot basically listen for your changes and internally use a Helix admin service to sync the content from your GitHub to this code bus. Okay, so and internally basically to create the markdown content, right, from document internally use some adapter. Those are called like Franklin Word Markdown adapter and Franklin Google Docs Markdown adapter. So apart from this preview and publish and code syncing, some other functionality of Helix admin services are like it clear these outer CDN cache. Okay, when you publish any page, it clear the cache and indexing all of these content also it's done through Helix admin service internally. Basically, it triggers the reindexing of the content bus and how that I'll be explained when I'll talk about these features of EDS in upcoming videos. So that was all about the architecture. But you may be thinking, what is this box here? Okay, I have not discussed about this box. Okay, and before moving to this, actually, there's one more thing. So you can set up your local DIN. So this is basically GitHub contain your code, and to see your changes on your website, basically you need to commit your push your code or commit your code. Okay, and then not like normal development process can follow, like you can raise a PR and then you can merge your PR. So basically you need to push your changes. But suppose as a developer, when you're working, if you are not sure about any feature, you don't want to push it, okay? Like you need to have something in your local so that you can directly say your changes. So for that also, like your local development environment can be set up using a very simple CLI command from your from the root of your project, like AEM up. That basically start a local server in your system in on 3000. It will listen to 3000 port, and basically internally it proxies the preview CDN, or you can say the inner CDN. So basically whatever normally thing you see through preview URL, same basically proxied here. So as I was talking, I have not discussed about this box. So what is this box? So whatever architecture component which I have discussed till now, right? Like fastly for outer CDN, then AWS Lambda for pipeline services, then AWS S3 for content store. These are basically represent the primary delivery stack of EDS. So basically, there are two delivery stacks available inside EDS. One is called primary delivery stack, and other one is the secondary delivery stack. That basically, so primary one, as I've already discussed, it's like it's called AWS delivery stack, and it involves it uses basically AWS Lambda, S3, and Fastly. And the secondary delivery stack called Cloudflare delivery stack, it uses Cloudflare CDN, Cloudflare Worker, and R2. Basically, Cloudflare CDN as an outer CDN, R2 basically for the content, have a content store, and Worker as a pipeline services. So that and reason for using two delivery stack, like so that it can be fail safe. Basically, if suppose like in some time back there was an outage in Fastly. So in those kind of scenarios, there should be something to fall back on, right? So that is why there are two delivery stack available. Now, coming to the authoring, I think I've already explained this, so I quickly just talk about this one more time, then I go to the next slide. So there are two types of authoring available, like document-based authoring and what you see, what you get kind of authoring. So document-based authoring is very simple, like you either use like SharePoint stack or you can say Google Drive stack. And whatever the stack you choose based on those, you will be doing the authoring in a like content author will do the authoring in using the tools that they know. And basically there is some boilerplate code is already available, which involves like all the basics files from Adobe, and then basic blocks collect making basic blocks which can be used to create your site. So though basically uh, your pipeline service, as I already explained, basically combine these content and code and then render your HTML pages which can be served to end users through browser. So that is a simple flow for you can say document-based authoring. And why it is useful, as I mentioned, there are two main selling point here. Uh, there's no investment related to money and time. Second, uh, the sites created through EDS they basically almost provide 100 lighthouse score. The second kind of authoring is basically this what you see is what you get kind of authoring, where the content present inside this document Google Drive or content or SharePoint. Here AEM sites can content basically is used. Like in a normal AEM environment, like you have AEM author tier, and all the content authoring happen in AEM author server. And once your content is ready for publishing, it get published to the published tier. Similarly, the same concept are used here is like on author tier, you will author the content for your edge delivery services site. And once you are ready, you can publish it. So internally, they use there are one more queue basically. When you enable the EDS for your in your environment, there will be a separate queue for EDS. So when you publish it, it will get published to EDS also. Okay. So here, instead of using content source is basically different content sources from AEM, and in document-based authoring, content sources your documents present inside Google Drive or SharePoint. So we'll see both of these in action in our upcoming videos. And uh, like what all different solutions, or you can say available inside EDS, that can be used to build different kind of sites, or different or what all functionality that you can achieve through EDS. So as I already mentioned, EDS with document with authoring is available. That is the, you can say, the primary use case, and most of the customer from Adobe using this. Secondary use case, or you can say, when suppose you already have author trained on AEM authoring, and they want to do authoring through AEM interface only. So uh, in that case, content can be authored through inside AEM, and then this flow can be used, like what you get authoring using Universal Editor with the EDS. And EDS also support form curations. So there's a concept of spreadsheet. Uh, Along with that, like a spreadsheet basically used can be used in this document-based authoring also. Like basically, you create a spreadsheet for your form. How you do that, and that basically is a definition that basically generate a JSON. When you preview it, it will create a URL, and there will be a form block. In that form block, you can basically author this JSON URL that will basically render your form. Apart from that, if suppose if you are using this second flow, where you are consuming the content from AEM, there also you can use this adaptive form block to basically you can, like normally when you drag and drop your comment. Similarly, you can do the authoring through Universal Editor, like you can use adaptive form block. And then there's option are also available that you can use adaptive form editor like you normally use in AEM, the same kind of editor you can use to create your adaptive form. So basically, form, what I want to say in short, like form functionality is also available through EDS. You can build your adaptive forms. And suppose you want to set up your commerce store or or a commerce website, which are basically using Adobe Commerce, uh, that or you can say Magento, that also is possible with EDS. Like AEM, anyway, everybody know, like you can use AEM SIF basically to create your commerce website. Similarly, suppose if you are using want to use EDS, that is with EDS also the same kind of commerce site can be created. And like in AEM, we have SIF components, and as I mentioned in EDS, there are concept of blocks. So here, but commerce related blocks are called, you can say, a spatial. These are like some specialized block, or no, no or they are known as drop-ins. So these drop-in basically used to create a commerce related component. I'll be explaining, as I mentioned, about all these things in detail in our upcoming videos. Uh, uh, so this is all about EDS, and in upcoming videos we will see all the, like how how we will set up the sample site, and then we will discuss about each and every concept of EDS, uh, and we will have a demo also. So if you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, please like this, please share this channel, and then if you have any queries, you can also comment. It will basically give me motivation to create these kind of videos in future also, and then I'll try to cover each and every uh, topic of AEM, so that everybody can basically learn AEM. Thank you.